My therapist says don't say always or never.
Yeah, but your therapist sucks. How much do you pay an hour for this person?
Not enough, apparently. Dustin.
Okay.
Her
And
saying you should all... I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Cut me
but
off.
That's an absolute, predicated by an absolute. It completely doesn't work. It negates itself. So your therapist
Never
is done.
say
Keep going.
always, Kendall. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sometimes fire your therapist.
Hey, guys. Do you think... Well, let me tell you what I think. I think... vaccines are just another form of penetration. And I also think that was the worst possible branding mistake that they could have made, because they could have had the whole country just sign up just like that. Anyways, that's a thought for you. And we're going to kick off with a good friend that we have with us. Who's with us today, Mr.
Are we
Kendall
actually
Bachman?
live?
Yeah.
Wow. You really went for it today.
Sorry.
Commitment.
So before
That
we
is
started, Kendall
commitment.
was like, how do you want people to feel? He was giving this really emphatic, heartfelt speech, and I just kind of wanted to riff off of that. I want you to feel squirmy and laugh a little bit and a little bit uncomfortable if your mother's in the car with you. That's it.
Gosh, sorry, Mom. So we have a guest today. His name is Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Hello.
Hello. You should know a couple things about Andrew. He really works circles around me. When we work on projects together, I am like, I don't even know what work is anymore.
Wait, what do you, have you guys,
Andrew and I are doing some projects together.
Okay. What do
Doing some
can you-
projects.
Can you like peel back a little bit? Do you have any, just give me an example.
Can we peel back a little bit?
I don't know. Just give me a project and tell me how he works circles around you.
So there are two things that matter in a startup. One is the concept and product market fit. The other is execution itself.
Yeah.
And I think ideas are something that lots of people can do. I can do those. And then I watch Andrew work and I wonder if I have any execution even in me. So one of them was like, I want these people to start getting more engaged. And like 45 minutes later, he's made a type form, and it like we have people going through this application process. So anyways, we pulled Andrew into this conversation because he recently had a tech exit of a services company that was local doing B2B services. He had a partner for, I think, 10 years. Has it been 10 years?
Yeah. Almost 10 years.
Crazy.
Almost, just shy of 10 years. And it's funny you mentioned the execution. I feel like that for me. So for listeners, for you guys, StrengthsFinder is one of the most important things that I was a part of.
Dude, I hate StrengthsFinders.
You hate it?
Yeah, I hate
awesome.
it.
I love it.
I hate it. It's great.
Okay,
You
so
guys are both idiots.
Yeah.
I'm a Myers-Briggs fiend.
I'm actually more on that side, but keep going. Tell me why you're wrong.
Okay. StrengthsFinder.
Yeah.
This was one of the most ridiculous revelations that I had. My business partner of almost 10 years now is probably very similar to you, Kendall, where he's very high ideation, very high strategy. I'm high on those too, and very low on execution. And I find myself gravitating towards these people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not on purpose, just naturally.
I feel like when I met him, I was like, wow, we could talk for 3 hours about the things we might do someday.
Yeah.
Wait, him or his partner?
No, his partner, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I have a theory about this. StrengthsFinders, just so you know, it's kind of like a personality test, but what it tells you is what your strengths are. And that's the absolute thing that they get completely wrong. It's not your strengths. It just tells you exactly what you do the most of. And so let's say you're really assertive. You might think, wow, I should be a leader. No. You could just be an asshole. And it's just telling you that you do this the most. So these are not necessarily positive attributes.
You're just an asshole the most of the time.
Yeah,
the majority of the time.
Yeah, most of the time you like to tell people what to do. So StrengthsFinders does have some positives and some negatives, but if you use it correctly, it can be good. But
That's
again,
just a mirror. You're just describing a mirror. Like,
but
this is actually
they
you.
position everything in such a positive light. Yay, you do tell people what to do all the
Yay,
time.
you're an asshole.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Anyways, keep going.
So this is how it made a big difference for me.
Yeah.
We took StrengthsFinder. Our whole team took StrengthsFinder. Okay, and if you do, there's a book called Strengths-Based Leadership where it applies your strengths to an organization, and it shows you as an organization where your key people's strengths are. And we discovered that across our whole organization, nobody had any strengths in the execution category except for me.
So you ran the whole business.
Lonely.
I have like 4 strengths in the ideation strategy side, like all of the other people that I gravitate to, and 1 strength in the execution side.
Did it give you like a mind map?
Yeah, so it's like 4 columns, and then each column has like the various strengths. You know, there's like 10 strengths per column. And it's like, oh my God, we have like 18 strengths in strategy, 10 strengths in relationship, and 1 strength in execution. And that's Andrew.
So I know you guys sold the business successfully for money.
No, Kendall, it was for love.
For money, for revenue. But I feel like the business you were in, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was services, IT services,
Yeah.
is arguably the wrong shell for very strategic people, because it seems like a very low leverage game. And so if you have a lot of high leverage thinkers, like they should arguably be on something where insights have big leverage, and they're actually aimed at something where service
Yes.
is how you make money.
You just stumbled across the reason why we sold our business.
There it is.
There it is. It was for love. It was really
You
for
did
love.
sell it for love. I nailed it.
That's so sad.
So you're saying that that's a fair assessment?
Real quick,
That is a
I
very-
actually have no idea what your business was. Can you just give me like a
Yeah.
spark notes of what it was?
Oh, absolutely. So basically, it was business to business IT consulting.
Oh, B2B.
Yes, B2B. So small to medium sized businesses. So you're a business owner, CEO, whatever. Law firm. You've got, 50 employees working for you. They all need computers. You don't want to pay someone full time on staff salaried to manage all the computers because you don't need, you don't have that degree of need. So what do? Instead of paying a full time IT guy $10,000 a month, you pay us $2,500 a month.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, I hate that.
I've
Yes.
always felt like, yes, this is tech, but this is also the unsexy side of tech. Is that a rude assumption of me to say?
No, this is
The
like
sexiest
the
thing-
janitorial staff of
The
tech.
sexiest thing about IT
Yeah.
is walking into a network closet that is properly cabled.
You turned me on right
I
there.
feel that.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
And 99.9% of the time, it is not that.
Ah, crap.
So it's not sexy at all.
Why not just do the cabling? Like, we clean up your cable closet. That's the business. We're $2,500.
Because nobody values that unless they're actually in tech.
That is exactly it.
Yeah,
You,
that's
you,
so funny.
you try selling to your CEO, let me spend 10 hours of billable time cleaning up your cable mess.
Yeah.
This is the problem with humans. The things that we are willing to pay for are the things that nobody actually wants to do. It is just another form of slavery.
Yeah. Can I? Real quick, I'm gonna ask a lot of questions this podcast. Also,
Okay.
you got off a very interesting phone call with who did you have your call with today?
So we did a storytelling seminar with Matthew Dix.
Okay, I love that.
Here's the pitch. So people, you type in matthewdix.com into your browser, but so you can find his TEDx talk, or you can see him perform live at the Moth Grand Slams. You'll see lots of YouTube videos.
I like Moth.
He is a pro storyteller. And so we had 13 CEOs on this Zoom call, and he's coaching us. We paid him to basically coach us on crafting narrative. And obviously that's pretty high leverage when you're leading teams. A company is arguably just people who agree they should be doing something together. So the leader's job, therefore, is getting them to agree they should do this thing and that it matters. So if you can do that as a leader, then people will join. If people join, customers generally get a product out of it, and investors generally have safety of like, my money can go for a ride. So I very much believe storytelling is at the core of leadership. So how do you tell honest stories that matter but affect people emotionally without being a manipulative dick?
Matthew
Dix.
That's funny.
No, he's hilarious. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, we just got off that. Why is that relevant?
I want to ask. So I'm asking a lot of questions. I've been reading a lot lately. It's been super fun. But that just brings more questions for me. Just being really transparent. How much did he cost?
Well, I don't know if he would like me saying this.
Was it
'cause
more
I feel
or
like
less
we
than
got a deal.
Was it more or less than a car that you could buy off the side of the road?
Less than most cars you would buy.
Okay. Is it
Used.
more than the most expensive dinner you've ever spent?
It is more than the most. Yes.
Okay. So there we go. We've got a spread there. Was it worth it?
Yes.
Really?
Heck yeah. Yeah. My hope is to do more of those. So I'm hoping to basically split the cost with a bunch of CEO friends, and that would make this very sustainable. I can keep arranging these guests, and people can just split the costs. Like, I'm not trying to make money off of getting these guest speakers. I just don't want to pay the rates they're charging to get the information. So it was fun. It was a test for me.
Can you give us some nuggets? Just like I don't know, small sentences or anything. Matthew Dix.
Yeah. Yeah. And Andrew actually was on the call.
I was.
Sorry.
You got the invite?
I'm sorry.
I
You
didn't.
son of a
I did
bitch.
not
Are you kidding me?
actually. I did not actually get the invite. I overheard him talking about it, and I knew what time it was. And so I messaged. I talked to one of his associates.
You, like,
I was like,
lawyered in the
I was
office?
like, hey, can you like shoot me the link? She was like, yeah, I'll send it to your email. It's like,
It was great. It was great. Yeah,
okay.
it was super chill. It was 2 hours. Let's see.
It's high. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by him. 2 hours of delivering
I think
content.
he
That's
went.
pretty impressive.
I think he went over.
Oh, that's
like,
nice.
We did a great long Q&A part.
If I was doing hourly at that high of an hourly rate, I would always go over just so that the people felt
It
like
was
they
not
got extra
hourly. It
value.
was for the session. He just gave
Yeah,
it
a whole
to
session.
us. He just liked talking.
He didn't. Okay, that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. But can you give us some like spark notes? And
So for me, the most impactful part was I do a poor job of setting location when I'm telling a story. So I give details that are unnecessary, which is selfish. So he would say that's selfish.
Oh.
You're sharing because you want to be understood, as opposed to sharing because you want them to benefit. So that was really foundationally helpful, right?
Yeah.
So the other part was location. I'm not tying most of the way I tell a story to physical space that people can imagine. So instead, he would launch into a story like, I'm in the middle of a conference room echoing with 13 CEOs asking weird questions to a professional storyteller. I have no idea why I'm on this call, but I'm hoping that my life changes, and I've paid a lot of money for it. That's how he would start that same story.
Yeah.
So he just launches in, he creates a scene and location, and then he leaves a lot of things like with mystery or wonder. And
This feels like copy. Like, is he just an expert copy, right?
basically,
Yeah.
but he's making the point that story and narrative actually help you live a better human life, because it's the stories we tell ourselves that affect us deeply and emotionally and give us the best memories. So we could afford to pay him for business reasons because it helps marketing, and we're involved in all these companies. So if we can help all these companies improve their marketing, then it's not a lot of money relative to the impact on many companies' marketing that we're involved in. But he wanted us to leave with, this will change your life if you just record your, almost like journaling, but like shorthand journaling. So if you record memories every day, like I was feeling the lukewarm temperature of the oak in the conference room with Dustin today. I just take that little note.
He really thinks like just the act of verbal journaling.
So he does it in Excel actually, or Google Sheets, and
Nerd.
The least Excel thing you could
and he
possibly do. in Excel.
packages these like shorthand notes in batches of 100, and then he saves that file into like a Dropbox folder basically, and he can go back and review any year in the last 10 years by just going and looking at 100 days in a row of little stories. Not stories, memories. Because they're his memories, they will unlock the actual full
Shorthand,
memory.
yeah.
So it's the shorthand that will unlock it for you. And then he goes back into those memories by looking at those notes, and then he finds a story to craft so that he can like connect with people through, one time I had a gun to my head and I knew it was my last moment on earth. And when the person pulled the trigger and I heard it, it took me a while to realize I was still alive.
Yeah, that guy needs to get a refund. Did you like the?
That's a
Just take
real
it back.
Matthew Dick story.
That's Matthew Dick story.
Somebody pulled the trigger
Dude,
on him.
I was once. This is so bad. I'm an asshole. I was once with this guy who was telling his
Can you tell us something we don't know?
Dude, he was telling his suicide story. He's like, and I grabbed it and I put it to my head and I pulled the trigger, and everybody's silent and in this whole room. And I was like, well, did you take the gun back? What the hell, man? I literally did that. And like, obviously everybody's laughing. And I felt so bad for the guy because obviously his whole ethos was completely gone at that point. But I thought I was funny and it was
Wow.
great for me. What did you get from the
I
conversation?
don't know if I can be
That's so funny.
associated with this clown anymore.
No, I really liked it. I actually really liked the worksheet. I was going to mention that thing that you mentioned, Kendall.
Yeah, what did he call it?
I can't remember.
Daily story.
Story log or homework, something about homework, story,
homework, homework for life.
Homework for that it. There
Nailed
it is.
it.
Yep. No, I call him a nerd, but I would actually put it in Google Sheets too. I'm a Sheets nerd. Sorry, Matthew Dix. I'm not offending you.
He mentioned Notion and some other tools that people are using for this, but I think he's right. Google Sheets is probably the easiest way.
It makes the most sense.
Yeah.
You can date stamp it, all that.
No, it doesn't though, because you can't even like do good paragraphs in Google Sheets.
Well, that's
not
the
paragraphs.
point. You have to make it shorthand because if it's too long, you won't actually do it because it takes too much time.
Okay,
Yeah.
valid.
So the idea is do it every single day. And when you're writing these stories down, also being mindful of how I can draw some sort of a point or moral out of it.
Life change. He called it a
life,
5-second change in your life. So,
Yes.
So if you can put in the prep time to look back on your notes and then assemble them into, oh, look, that's where I changed, which is really hard to realize when you're changing. But when you look back on it, you're like, that actually changed me for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Then you can go back and tell the story for the benefit of the audience or
Yeah.
for a friend or a loved one.
Yeah.
At Thanksgiving,
Yep.
you can tell a better story of like why I am the way I am now
Yeah.
unto other people's benefit. He actually strikes me as quite loving.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I think especially for someone like myself, I am the worst person at remembering virtually anything in my past. Yeah,
me too.
You know, it's actually great because when I read books, I have a clock. I wait about 4 years and I forget almost everything about it. Obviously, except the very end, but it's like reading it for the first time. Same with movies. I can rewatch a movie after about 4 to 5 years and it's like watching it for the first
But it
time.
probably changed you and you just aren't aware of it.
Oh, yeah. Lord of the Rings is like my favorite. I get to experience it all brand new.
Do you remember
every half decade, you know?
That's hilarious.
But
that's funny.
This discipline of writing down your stories, I have a lot of opportunities in my life rhythm to share stories, and I think they're very highly valuable. But I forget so many of the stories in my life, except for the absolute most groundbreaking, earth-shattering ones. And so, but it's often the mundane stories that grab people the most because it's not like you're, oh, the day I was married, it's like the daily experience of life where people will actually connect with what they're listening or they're hearing from you as a whatever you're doing context, whatever your context
so you
is.
become a better storyteller, you get to know yourself better, and in general that makes you probably better off, I suppose. All right, I can get on board with that. That seems like mostly like keeping a journal though, right? Is there anything better than that, than keeping a journal?
He puts it into frameworks that are like journals that are more beneficial to other people. So I think the context is this is better for your memory, better for you.
Yeah.
You will like your life more. Time will slow down. That was one of his main points. Time will slow down for you if you do this every day.
Huh.
But this is unto other people's benefit so that they can engage and feel connected and feel like they can understand or at least like share a painful part of life. Like a lot of it is rooted in sharing pain or sharing excitement.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
He had a lot of stories about sharing from, personal stories from like stages or at conferences or whatever. And people would come up to him after these events and share really like deeply emotional things with him just because he shared a personal story and made it about him instead of whatever slide deck he was supposed to sell on a sales presentation that day.
Ooh, we did talk about salespeople. So I asked him some like very, I guess non-kosher, very capitalist questions. And he is an artist. Like he's a thoroughbred artist. My wife is an artist. I am attracted to the artists. But it is because I am not the artist. I am the opposite spectrum of the artist. I am just thinking. I'm just pondering. I'm attracted to the people who are feeling almost to a fault. I think to a fault. And we like to meet in the middle. So when he was talking about this kind of goal he has of getting people to be very engaged, like basically he's sharing stories to engage and connect with people. Like Google, Amazon, his clients, Microsoft, they are using and buying his time to try to sell things. Like a new feature that improves user adoption by 3% was a specific example he used. These corporations are basically trying to figure out how to tell a story to their users better, use metaphor, etc., from the artist in order to make tiny gains on adoption. And it kind of drives him crazy, but he also wants to make money for his kids' future. And he also, he's fueling their college funds.
What a good story to tell.
Right. So I'm like, okay, So if you are trying to send cold emails to 10,000 people, how do you, I asked him something along the lines of like, how do you incorporate the visceral I into that email? Because I think business people generally understand, or entrepreneurs generally understand, I'm looking for a pain point that people have, and I want to provide a solution that people want. But to execute telling that story is this chasm where a lot of people struggle. And it's the process of building trust and convincing people that your solution is right for them now. And I think the trade-off, the difference between kind of his life MO and what a lot of salespeople and marketers are dealing with is he just wants people to be engaged and to feel connected. And businesses need people to buy things. So there's actually quite a big difference in the way that we would use storytelling.
It's really ironic because it's the number one thing that AI is replacing, as we've talked about quite a bit, but it's still the number one most valuable tool is just being able to have good copy.
Yeah.
It's super, it's I don't know, paradoxical, I guess.
Using the words that make people feel understood and feel that they want. I mean, why
not even understood, captivated.
Sure.
Like you don't have to understand the guy.
Right. I'm projecting a little bit. I want to be understood.
Totally. Yeah, but like it depends on your medium and what your approach is. If you're telling a story, you don't have to be understood. If you say a sentence and the sentence captures you, okay, I'm going to say a sentence. I think I heard this from some comedian somewhere, or maybe I'm making it up. I don't know. I never thought I'd be in the same room with my mother when I figured out that my wife was pregnant with my sister. You're like, what the heck? I want to hear the rest of the story. That's a terrible. Can we delete that? Actually, that was so f***ed up.
What?
But
just happened?
it just capture us, right? Like it's a sentence that captures you, right? Anything like that.
I think you should leave that and just bleep out twice.
But anyways, just the ability to say, I want to know the rest of that, even if it's awful and terrible. I really, really, really want to know.
Yeah.
Morbid curiosity.
Or just, curiosity.
In that case, anyway.
So it's just fascinating that people want to identify with something that causes emotion to the point where we will pay double, triple, quadruple for branded clothes that have the same exact function and quality, but they're associated with Yeet, Nike. They're associated with whatever the mushroom one that I saw at Zoomies last week. Like, I don't know. The fact that people even will value with their money brand just blows my mind. But when I step back, I mean, I get it. People are looking to feel like they're a part of something that they identify with, even if that thing is edgy or squirmy or whatever it is, rebellious or nice or quaint or smart.
Yeah. Well, one of the points that he'd made was that you and what you're talking about is 22 times more memorable when you're telling a story. So if you're trying to convey information, if you can package or cushion that within this context of a story,
right, your
audience is going to remember it 22. They're 22 times more likely to remember whatever it is you're trying to communicate.
That seems like an arbitrary number, but I get
no, it was a study.
It was a study. I wrote it down in my notes. That means it's true.
One study
Google it,
gave
Dustin.
those results.
Google it. You will find out.
No,
because everything on Google is true.
Okay, what is it? Post hoc ergo proctor hoc, or what is it?
I don't know.
Post hoc fallacy.
Okay, I don't speak Latin. I'm sorry.
Well, anyways, no. It's facts lie to you. So you think that you see something, and because it was a fact, it's true, but it's not necessarily true. It's. I need to research this.
Let me ask you a mind bender question.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay. What are the moral implications of AI telling stories that were completely fabricated? If AI is taking over your jobs, and AI is taking over copy, and AI is doing all these things, and AI learns that storytelling is 22 times more effective than just rote information transfer.
Crap.
What are the moral implications of AI coming up, fabricating stories that are then published?
I'll go first.
Yeah, please.
I believe that is a net positive because it's affecting the present reality of humans reading the AI written story and the chemicals that they feel, assuming they're positive and like visceral like chemicals that we want. I like it. I don't care that an AI wrote it. I'm living in this moment. I'm weeping tears of joy or happiness or meaning. Sometimes sad stories actually connect us to the meaning of life. But I don't know that we've all agreed on what the meaning of life is yet.
So Kendall's in the camp of ends justify the means.
Yeah, okay. I'm in the camp of I don't give a shit. So historicity. Oh my gosh. No, dude. We've been telling lies and stories our entire life. In fact, you lie to yourself constantly. What's this book? There's a famous book called Lie to Me, right? Especially you. I've seen how you live. I know that's true. No, we lie to ourselves. The stories we tell ourselves, how we met our wives, how we did everything there. We give ourselves stories and narratives, and they may or may not be true. That doesn't matter. What matters is how they've affected you. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. I think that's way more important. Now, let's not say that history in general should just be fabricated. However, history has shown us that it has been. Like, it's written by the victors.
This is making me question if history matters. Does only the present and future matter?
No, that's total bullshit. I mean, like Hegel once said, history has proven only that it repeats itself and people don't learn from their mistakes. But also, people don't usually read Hegel. And if you read it, you'd probably learn from your mistakes. Anyways, I have a lot of questions for you guys.
My wife did Kegels after our...
Oh, God. Let's move on. Lord Jesus. Okay. Okay, let's pitch some ideas. Do you have any ideas for us? You're the guest.
Yeah, I do, actually.
Hit me.
All right. So the context of this podcast, just to fill me in.
Yep.
This is like ideas for like side hustles or
Okay, but let me...
I just hang out with him and he buys the beer.
Okay.
That's not true.
Now give me framework here.
so-
I got a bunch to choose from.
Yeah. So this podcast is basically trying to get people unstuck and out of the box of the kind of the ritual they've been sold, which is
Awesome.
I go to school, I get an engineering degree, I go
Perfect.
get a 100K job, and then I get a marriage
Beautiful.
and 2.5 kids
Yep.
and a
Wonderful.
dog and a picket fence.
Yes.
And then my mortgage skyrockets and
Yep.
inflation sets in.
Yep.
And there's war in the East.
Yep.
And now what the hell?
Got it.
So instead, why don't we take the bull by the horns, choose our own paths, take some risk because you have risk in your safe job. You just don't know it until you've been laid off or
Yep.
fired. So I've been through maybe 3 or 4 laying offs.
Okay.
So I just feel this to my core. I also skipped college, even
Whoop.
though my parents would have paid for
College dropout gang represent.
You too?
I did. Yeah, I actually dropped out of college.
Well, so you weren't smart enough earlier enough to avoid
Yeah,
the bullet.
I was a college dropout, 100% college dropout.
And he is
No, I
still
graduated
trying
college.
to go
I'm going
back
to grad
college.
school. That's so funny. Although I took a study when I first entered college, and it gave me a 3% likelihood of finishing college. So I will say,
Oh wow.
Wow.
yeah,
Hey,
which I don't know what
you
that
are-
means.
you made it. You're in the
I
top
made it. I beat
3%.
the
Yeah.
test. And that's actually, sadly, the best way to make me do something is just tell me you're not going to do it, and I'll probably just do it. Anyways, I want to hear your business ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with that context, that helps me hone in some of the business ideas. Okay. So, all right. This is a terrible idea for right now, where the economy is at.
When is it a good idea for?
When the real estate market is recovered.
Okay.
So this is the best time to prepare for it.
Okay. So 2 years from now ish.
Yeah, about 2 years from now. So there is such a thing called being a loan signing agent. Do you know what a loan signing agent is?
Loan signing.
Loan signing agent.
Please enlighten us.
I will. So a loan signing agent is a special type of notary. They are a licensed notary, but they are a special type of notary that...
Different than the title companies?
Yes. So title companies can sign on loans, but what happens frequently, 2 things happen. One, either their escrow officers and title officers are just so busy with their file that it makes more sense for them to outsource this. And or 2, in certain situations, it's a conflict of interest for them to provide their own notary because then the company has incentive to push the file forward because they make a profit from it.
They make money.
Yes.
A percentage of the money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they in many cases are not allowed to provide their own loan signing personnel, and so they will use third party. So this is an exclusively contracted position.
Okay.
And basically what it is you can become a loan signing agent. It takes probably about 6 months to get all of the. I've looked into this. Yeah. A couple of years ago, I looked into this.
6 months full time, or is this like a side thing?
It's like a side thing, like 6 months, just on the side, you study on the side to become a loan signing agent. you make between 75 and 175 per signing. Signings take between 30 minutes to an hour. And you can, if you're hustling, you can net 10 grand a month.
Can you do 4 of those a day?
Absolutely.
Can I make a company of people who do 4 of those a day?
You can. That's
what I
the
want.
next step.
That's what I wanna do.
So the way that this whole process works is you start as a loan signing agent and you work for a signing service. So you put your name in the signing service and you say, hey, I want to take loan signings. And whenever they have a loan signing, they shoot you a text. You
So
accept
you don't even
it.
get your own leads.
You don't. And that's where you start.
Can I make a lead generation company for the loan signing service that has loan signers working for them?
You probably could.
Ah,
That would-
see
yeah,
how
that would be
the
really
economy
effective.
works?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is the like progression path. You start, but you get paid half of what the signing service makes. So the signing service charges the title company $150, they pay you $75. But they're the ones that like deal with the headache if you screw up.
So we used to use a service like this when I worked for the private equity company called BPOs. So you know what a BPO is?
I don't.
It's a broker's price opinion. So when
Okay, I
you
do.
want to just do a quick real estate deal,
Yep.
but you do not want to deal with California compliant appraisers,
Yep.
which are like 4 weeks out right now, and you got to pay $550
Yep.
for the appraiser to come and do a walkthrough with a tape measure that you could have sent them the measurements yourself, but they
Yep.
can't compliantly trust you. And then they go back and they plug the numbers into their computer, and then their computer program tells you what your house is worth. They don't even really think. And they make $550? No. Instead, a BPO is just, there is a realtor who is not closing a lot of sales commissions. And they are happy to give you an appraisal for $100 or $150.
Nice.
And so there are realtors who are bad salespeople, but smart thinkers. And they can just whip up really quick one of these documents for you that says what your house is worth on the current market for $150 instead of $550 and a 4-week wait.
Nice. I've heard that called a desktop appraisal. That's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the street
from a
lingo.
realtor.
Yeah. Well, when we used to flip houses actually.
But they can't say that or they'll get sued into the dirt. So they have to say broker's price opinion. It's
Yeah.
a BPO.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there are BPO services that you can hire and you can get an appraisal of your house that is within $5,000 of what it actually is worth.
Oh yeah. Way
But-
faster.
Way
and
faster
cheaper.
and 25% of the cost.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, so you become a loan signing agent, then you make like $75 a pop. Then you go direct business, you cut out the middleman.
Is this going to disappear at all in the next 10 years? You think it'll still be here?
I can't imagine that it would disappear.
It'll stay.
Because banks require.
Yeah.
Like they require. If you've ever signed for a house, so much paperwork.
So it costs. Could you theoretically hire people, pay them $30 an hour, do the majority of the paperwork, and then you just come in at the very end and say yes, approved, yes, approved, yes, approved?
No. You don't even have to hire people. You're already just going.
No, I don't want to
yes,
do it.
approved.
I don't want to spend 30 minutes to an hour. I want to spend 5 minutes.
Oh, I see
So
what you're saying.
then what you do,
just
if
own
you
the
want to
company.
spend 5 minutes,
Yeah.
then you become the signing service.
Okay.
So the way that the progression works, you get direct business with title and escrow companies, and then you just farm that out to other notaries. And so you're like, you get a little Rolodex of other notaries that are subcontractors. You get your title company calls you, says, hey, I have a signing, I'll pay you $150, 2 p.m. tomorrow. So you call your little Rolodex of notaries, or you don't even call them. You punch it into a software online. It texts all of them. The first one that texts you back gets the job. You
Yeah.
send that person out.
How much would you cut it?
Cut what?
Like they get 30% of it. You get
Oh, usually it's half.
half.
It's
half
half.
of half.
Yeah,
So then at
half.
half a half.
So you get paid $150, the notary gets $75, and you get $75 for sending them a text message. Granted, you are also responsible for if they mess up,
Oh, that changes.
but what makes that a little better is that if you work with only experienced notaries, then
Well,
it
I
helps
was
prevent
going
a
to
lot of
say, but you have 5 LLCs in your back pocket, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
you just shut down 1/5 of the companies.
Oh my god.
And then,
That's so
sorry,
Everybody,
this is
that's
America.
Kendall Bachman.
No,
KendallBachman.com if you want to do business with him.
Stop it. So I've been okay. I
So-
would like to move on from this idea and upgrade it to what is the new title company of the future. So you've dealt with quite a
Yes,
few title
I
companies.
have.
Right. And it's quite complex, but it's only complex if you're learning about it for the first time. After
Yeah.
you've like been through the rigmarole a million times,
Yeah.
you realize it's the same copy and paste protocols
Yeah.
over and over and over. And you give them, what is it, like 1% or 1.5% of closing?
Yeah.
Like, think of how much
So-
work that everybody else has to do for that much money.
Do you know what the title company of the future is?
Tell me.
You're going to hate me. Blockchain.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But tell me how it would work.
Okay. So I'm not a blockchain expert. So don't make fun of me if this sounds silly. If
No, I
there's
think
some
you're
blockchain
helpful. I've talked to you
listener.
about this. I feel like you're pretty informed, actually.
So the way that the blockchain and NFT, non-fungible tokens, work is that it validates each new entry by recognizing the string of prior entries that exist. Okay. So it creates a public visible ledger that cannot be altered of what transactions transpire and so on and so forth.
Another way to say it is it only validates this new record if
If
it's compared to the old records.
Correct.
So you can't just add new code and
Correct.
manipulate it.
Correct. And it is when you create a new transaction on the blockchain, every historical transaction that ever occurred is also part of that new transaction. It's not like it's a file in some lawyer's office on 123 East Street. That's part of the technology.
So is this going to save me a lot of money on title insurance?
That is right.
Yeah.
Because what does a title company do? They do hours and hours and hours of research to find out if there are title conflicts that are going to cause weird issues with the loan. That's what a title company does. You pay them for title insurance so that if 15 years down the road, your long lost estranged brother comes out of the woodwork
I
and
actually
says,
own this house.
I own this property.
Mom left in the will.
Yep. If that happens, well, then your title company eats the cost because they sold you title insurance.
Or if that happens to the person you bought the house from, more importantly.
Yes, that's really what's going to happen. Or you sell it, and then your long lost brother comes out of the woodwork
Right.
and makes a claim on the
Right.
property.
I do think blockchain will materially change that.
It's farther out because right now, every time you buy a property, it's going to have this,
still have to compare
100
it to
years of
government
history.
records.
I would argue it's extremely far out for at least housing. For everything else, I think it's not far out. For housing, it's probably like 15, 20 years out.
Yeah, housing. So unless there was a company that you went through that validated the title insurability of a property once, and from that point forward, put everything on the blockchain.
God,
What would restrict you
that's
from
so
taking
smart.
this, from actually doing this?
Me personally?
Yeah, anybody. Just say, I wanted to do it.
Oh, what would stop you from doing that? Just the
like,
technology.
There's a lot of legal problems, a lot of hoops of it.
Well, if I were to do this, I would probably be. So if you're an executive of Fidelity National Title Company,
okay. Say I am.
let's say you are.
Yeah.
You're like the perfect person to do this because the technology is expensive right now because it's so new. And so integrating that will cost a lot of money right now. But it
Okay,
is
this is getting really nerdy,
okay.
but I'd like to simplify the concept here.
Okay.
This could be the last thing you just said. If you make this one research backwards, one time
Yep.
you've researched this backwards on this one property,
Yep.
and you can certify it's clean as of today, then create the blockchain record.
Yep.
That data company, that has that data, can make a contract with all title companies. They don't even have to migrate to blockchain.
That's smart. So it's completely uncorruptible.
So
Yeah.
correct.
And it's just
and you're convincing a corporate customer instead of a consumer, which arguably is cheaper from a marketing perspective. You can send out, for example, 10,000 cold emails, and the 30 people who get back to you from those businesses, from those title companies, can say, yeah, we get it. We're interested, and we'll pay you your price to get that infallible data. All you would have to have is an insurance policy big enough if you are wrong.
Yep.
And then you could close those deals. So I don't think it can be started by, a college student.
Yep.
But I do think it could be started by a title agent who understands blockchain. So that's going to be rare, but those two
Yeah.
people
Or a blockchain developer partnered with a title
you
agent
go.
who both understand their industries.
who partner with an insurance company.
Yeah.
So if somebody will insure that,
Yeah.
then the fourth employee in this mess. So you have the title agent, you have the insurance company, and you have the blockchain developer. The fourth person is a sales guy.
Yep.
So that person goes out and sells this as a solution to cut down your research. You're spending the next 3 days of research to make this $1,500 or make this $4,000, and we will give it to you for $600.
Even more wild, I don't know what the legalities of this are, but with blockchain, something else you can do is you can, in the creative space, so if you create a movie or a game or a JPEG, herder, everybody JPEGs, NFT JPEGs. But if you create one and you sell it on the blockchain, you can get a commission every time that NFT changes hands.
Sure.
So you as the originator, the data owner, the originator,
you get 3% of every time that someone searches against this record.
Or every time the house changes hands.
Dang,
the property changes hands.
That's a good business, Andrew.
Thank you.
Dustin's not so convinced.
No, I think it's great business. I totally agree. I think it's got a high cost of entry, however.
It does. It's not I'm a broke college student and I want to get out of the hustle. That's what loan signing is. Loan signing is I'm a broke college student and I want to get in. I want to get out of the rat race.
Okay, I hate to say this. Oh my God, this is going to be so harsh. Dude, real estate, everything annoys the shit out of me. It's like every single person who's not into entrepreneurship, but kind of wants to make an extra buck is an expert in real estate, anything. And it's so nebulous and complicated. And I'm just like, go start a goddamn business. This shit's really, 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 really involved. Now, I own a house and I get it, but I don't even know what I signed. I just literally said, I could be signing some terrible, terrible documents, but I just literally shipped it off. And my wife really went into being a real estate agent. Even still, I'm like, get me away from this stuff. I feel bad. But I think you told me once you've spent like $30,000 on courses.
I did.
Many, many years.
Yep. Almost 30. 25, 28, somewhere around there.
Well, who's counting? I guess
yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But are you still in real estate?
We are.
How many houses do you own?
So we own 3 properties, but one of those is a fourplex. One of those has 2 rentals on it. So we have 1, 2, 6. We have 7 rentals. And of course, the house we live in.
Do they cash flow now, or are you making money in other ways?
They do. They cash flow. Every single one of them pays for the mortgage and then more.
No way. How much are you making? So if you're doing nothing, you have no normal job, how much are you making off of all the houses that you have?
Let me clarify this. Yep. One of them is an Airbnb, so it does require work. So I'm not going to say it's just like sit it and forget
passive,
it. It's not passive. So 5 of the units we own are rentals, like straight rentals, passive income. 2 of them are Airbnbs, so they require work. We could we could sub that out. We could outsource that to a cleaner and a manager. We just choose not to because we want the extra income.
How much, if you were to, just that one right there, how much are you making on it? How much would it cost to sub it out?
The Airbnb ones? Yeah. We make probably, so the mortgage is about, I want to say $4,000 a month after taxes and insurance. And we make, on a slow month, we make 4. On a fast month, we make probably 6.
Okay, so you could lose money or break even if you were to sub it out.
Correct.
That makes sense.
I had an Airbnb in Palo Cedro that was making me $4,000 a month. And it all ended when somebody shot up on my couch and left little crystals and a spoon. My wife was not into that, and the neighbors were reporting BB gun bullet holes in their shed.
Oh my gosh!
Wow!
And somebody like had hit their pony with pellets. Yeah. Anyways, that was the end of that.
Airbnb. We actually used to Airbnb our home, like a room in our home, and that was an experience. I remember that we had some suspected drug deals, actually.
Your house.
Yeah. Okay, so this is wild. We learned that almost every time there is a local person booking that like lives in the same city as us, instant deny. Because they're almost
Hotels
always
do this.
Yep. Yeah, it's like why? So it's either they're homeless and they're not going to take care of your stuff, or they're looking for a spot for some sort of drug deal.
Yes.
That's what we discovered.
My wife and I, for an anniversary, tried to book a really nice room in town one night, and they were like, they're taking my money, my credit card, and like, give me your ID. Wait a minute, you live in Reading? Like, yeah. Also, you are in Reading. Is there a problem? Yeah, we can't
Dude,
give you a
room.
room.
I have this problem and I hate
What
it.
the
It drives me insane. My wife's in the other room right now, and sorry, babe. I've tried to do this for our like special occasions, and it
my
never
gosh.
works. It's
Yep,
awful.
yep,
So screw
yep.
you for doing that to us. I probably booked your Airbnb.
I'm sorry, Dustin.
I'd like to.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We actually have we have a cool story though. So we vet them, right? And so if it looks like you're going to deal some drugs,
Okay.
then we're like, no.
What is looking like dealing drugs? I'm just wondering.
how do you profile people,
Well, you
huh?
can't
Yeah.
because they don't
Is
show
it
you the
based
photo.
on their color
They don't
of-
show you the photo
They don't
anymore.
on
No,
Airbnb?
because people will profile them.
I put a photo on mine.
But until you've accepted the booking, you can't see the photo.
Whoa.
When you accept, you can. That's their initiative to like cut down on profiling, racism, and all that stuff.
I just want to know if their photo was taken in 1080p, 4K, or
The way
720.
the way that,
that actually
we
would work. That'd be a really effective
Oh,
profiling
this is a
mechanism.
Wow.
720
That
photo?
would totally work.
Okay.
That's
All
a
right.
terribly effective and
That is really
odd
smart.
way to. Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Okay, so the way we not profile, it's the wrong word. We don't profile. The way we vet local guests is if you have 0 reviews and if you have local to our area,
Right.
and if you have no profile photo, because it will say no profile photo. It'll tell you if you have some or none, but if you have one, it just won't tell you what it is. So that's how we vet. But we have had people that are like, man, this guy, we had a gal that rented from us. She said, oh yeah, I'll be there, XYZ time, whatever. And the time came and her son, who was like 15, showed up with no mom.
With no mom. Oh,
And
God.
this is a liability nightmare, okay? First of all, it's against the Airbnb rules to
Someone's
host a
paid
minor by
you
themselves.
To put a 15-year-old at your house?
Yes, they have. And we asked the 15-year-old, we're like, is your mom coming? And he's like, oh, yeah. She says she'll be here. So we text the mom. And we're not going to like send this 15-year-old kid to
No,
like
you can't just say
park
beat
on our
it.
doorstep. Like, we can't do that.
Yeah, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, so we let him in. We let him in the room, and we're like texting the mom, like, "Are you gonna show up? Like, what's going on?" We're not supposed to... And so we start, just talking to the kid because it's literally in our room in our home. We're Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, a little bit rougher around the edges, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my friends and I, we like, vandalized this house a while back. We lit it on fire." And we're like, "Oh my God, no, this is not what we want." And so the best we can, and we ended up hosting him, the best we can deduce is that maybe there was some sort of like trouble in the home, like parents fighting, and the mom wanted a safe place for her son.
Sure. Okay.
And from talking with
You're
the
a
kid,
good,
that's kind
generous
of
person.
what we
I
deduced.
appreciate that.
Yes.
And we're like, we just felt like it's a risk, but we're going to take it and this is why it's a risk, because let's say this kid comes back and says, "Oh no, we abused him or something in this home."
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Well, what's our recourse? I mean, obviously, then there's some sort of
you
court,
need
whatever.
you need like video cameras in the home
Yeah.
to make sure you're safe in case of
I
any
feel like that's also a
accusation.
risk.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Anyway.
yeah, I don't know.
No.
Oh God.
A lot of experiences. You
Yeah.
gotta be the right type
Dude,
of person
okay,
for Airbnb.
This is the thing though. I feel so bad because I have been thinking about getting a little bit more into real estate lately,
Sure.
Yeah.
but I still hate it. It's just so much.
Don't do it if
goddamn work.
you hate it. So
Yeah.
Here's the core principle why.
Yeah, hit me.
There are people who love it and they will crush you. You will lose to the people who love it. Because I know a lot of them and they end up good only because of passion.
Why do you hate real estate?
It's so much work. Now there are aspects of it that I don't hate so much. Now I'm
What
coming up-
is work? What is the work?
I know, maybe
right.
he's just not good at work.
Wow.
He's good at talking.
Yeah, and my mom says that too. No. She says actually exactly all of that. No, so I have a very small fractional understanding of real estate, and from what I understand, and the aspects of it that I've dealt with, it's just a freaking lot of legwork. Now I understand that there are some people who don't have to touch the changing of cabinets, doing all that stuff, all the actual legwork
Yeah.
of it, or renting out an Airbnb, all that stuff. I'm not that person. I actually get into the weeds and then I get stuck in the weeds, and I'm trying to like get out of it.
So
and
it's
just
a
such weedy
discipline
thing.
problem. Discipline yourself to not do the work.
No, I don't think it's a discipline problem. It's like I just don't really enjoy the work. I
Okay.
grew up doing manual labor a lot, and so now I hate it with all of my
Well,
heart.
you can outsource it a lot.
I know, but then I look at the numbers and I don't want to outsource it. I painted my cabinets this year. Why? Because outsourcing it was costing $4,000. So what did I do? I freaking painted my cabinets, and I
Yeah.
hated it. Ask my
Yeah.
wife; it was awful.
Real estate is about the long game, I've learned. So yeah, the first one you get into is that way. It sucks because you're doing a lot of the work yourself.
Okay.
But then what happens is your rents, you start charging more money in rent every year because rent goes up, and your mortgage stays the same.
Okay.
And before, 5-10 years down the road, you're cash flowing double what your mortgage is or more. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Depends. Maybe not. Not with inflation the way it is.
Yeah.
It's not. And so now you're banking $2,000 a month. Okay, I'll spend 2 months worth of income that I didn't have to work for to pay a contractor down the street.
Let's stop. You did real estate. You've also done tech. Which one do you like better?
Real estate.
Yeah. I
really?
like real
For real?
estate more.
I can
You
answer
guys are
that
both
for
doing
you.
the same thing.
No,
You're
no,
the
no.
same.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm not
Well, not the
answering
same
for
thing,
me.
but you're like, you've done real estate. You've done real estate.
Yeah.
You guys have both
I'm
done
answering
business.
for him.
I enjoy tech, like just do it. Like I enjoy like tech for myself.
Yeah.
Servicing other people's tech, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I've asked you asked you things about my tech.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
I actually don't mind it. I don't mind it because I enjoy helping people.
Yeah.
What I don't like about it is you are always solving someone's crisis.
My therapist says don't say always or never.
Yeah, but your
I'm not your
therapist sucks.
therapist.
How much do you pay an hour for this person?
Not
I'm
enough,
not.
apparently. Dustin.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Never
Well,
mind.
you are almost always
Barry, you're
servicing
fired.
someone else's crisis.
Her
And
saying
it's-
you should all. I'm so sorry. I interrupted you.
cut me
but that's
off.
an absolute
Chop.
predicated by an absolute. It completely doesn't work. It negates itself. So your therapist
never
is done.
say
Keep going.
always.
Yeah.
Kendall. Always never say never. Yeah.
And you
Thank
should
you.
sometimes fire your therapist.
I actually do think you should fire your therapist. There are streams of therapy that I agree with and disagree with. Anyways, we're digressing.
Yeah.
Let's just can we share a few ideas? I feel like we owe.
So I'd like to point out a framework for hustling from this conversation.
Okay, yeah.
So if you're in a job and you're asking the question, how do I end this nightmare?
Okay.
And you're shopping, I think this is why our channel is actually helpful to people. That people are shopping for what are even my options. Real estate comes up a lot because there's a million people willing to sell you an e-course for thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars to tell you a thing is easy. That Dustin is basically saying that's not easy, and Andrew is saying that is possible, but you're not saying it's easy.
No.
So I think people need to be more honest with themselves. And the framework is what kind of worker are you?
No, I disagree. Yes, I think you're right with that. I don't think it's easy. I think real estate is it's basically a required version of entrepreneurship that every human has to go through. And so it's oversaturated. Choose something that's less saturated.
So just looking at the normal options for the things that help people do side hustles and build small businesses that can grow. Real estate is in this bucket for me. You said you spent $4,000 on cabinets.
No, I could have, but I did it myself.
You did it yourself because it would. Yeah, that's because real estate is intended to grow as an asset, which is what Andrew's looking at long term, not make you your income for next month. So it's kind of like the adage of you plant seed to grow the wheat that you make into bread. But if you eat the seed, you die next winter.
Yeah.
Don't eat the seed. You plant the seed and you eat the bread. So real estate's in this bucket of you need to be eating bread from somewhere else and planting seeds in real estate that will benefit you 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now.
I would agree with that.
So avoid real estate if your goal is temporary cash and look at services. Now, we've also talked about pros and cons of services. And then if you're not looking to make medium money, so I would argue with services, you can make like medium money. You can be ahead of what your job is paying you. You can make 100K, 200K, 300K, 400K in services if you're really hardworking about it and you find the right shell for you. But you will never make $4 million, $40 million, $400 million from services. Those things happen from scalable products. Scalable products, you have to sink lots of risk into. Risk of time, risk of creativity, risk of other people's money, and you have to obsess over that. No matter what thing you do, you're going to have to obsess and work hard. You just need to pick which thing is the highest leverage for you. Are you trying to do a later thing?
Yes.
Or a risk and reward bet? Or a medium money that could become pretty good money and which season are you in.
And
you can do all three in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Just which one are you in now?
And which type of person you are. There are people that are like, I know people that are like, I want the fast money. I will risk a lot because I want the big payout. Like hustle, 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 hustle. Boom, $20 million payout. I know people like that. Then there's people that are like, I'm okay at this services job, this middle of the road services job, and I'm going to put money into my real estate and I'm going to see it grow. And 30 years from now, I'm going to own $5 million worth of real estate free and clear.
Listen, the great Peter Thiel once said, hold on, where's he at?
The mediocre Peter Thiel.
That schmuck once said, long-term planning is often undervalued by our indefinite short-term world. Thank you, Peter Thiel. Screw that. I actually want both. I really want the short-term benefit. No, seriously. You get something. You get that itch where you're like, holy crap, I just made some money. I'm going to make some more money. I think you have to segue and build up to the long-term investment because everybody's always like, yeah, I'm so utilitarian. I bought my house and it's going to pay off in 35 years. Listen, I want to go to Hawaii this summer and that's not going to pay off today. So can you help me? How can I make $10,000 in the next 2 months? What do you think?
$10,000 in the next 2 months.
Clock's ticking. 59 days now.
58
days now. 57 days left, Andrew. 54
So if you want a high, honestly, most of my strategic thinking is more long-term. So I don't know that I have a great answer to that question. I am the other type of person that's like, I'm going to plant seeds and I'm going to build my wealth in the long term. I'll come back next week with an idea of what to do for 10 grand.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, awesome.
This is the cliffhanger episode.
I'm on the road next week, so we could just do a Zoom call. I think it'd be fun.
I'm in New York next week as well.
That's great. Thanks for coming on. It was really fun having you.
Of course.
On
It's
to
fun as well.
part two later.
I love it.
See you guys.
Yep.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's call, you should check out Scale It Right. Scale It Right scales your business right through ad management, cold emails, strategy for your marketing, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we can do really well out of India for your U.S. customers.
And that's good. Also, real fast, Andrew's selling a company over here. So if you live in Brandon, California, and you want to buy a business for very, very cheap, that will make you good money. What do you say, $100,000 in less than a year if you work hard at it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Just reach out to us, any of us.
There it is. That's my $10,000 idea. $10,000 month idea. Buy
a
it.
company.
Buy one of the businesses for me. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Done.